Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our weekly show with our friends here at Miami's Community Newspapers. Today, sitting in for Grant Miller is the one, the only Michael Miller.
Nice to be here with you, Mark. Thank you very much for inviting me.
It's an awesome day to be with you. We're heading into the holiday weekend. It's not only Lunar New Year, but it's Valentine's weekend, and that's a little Captain and Tennille for you, Michael.
Thank you very much. And when is Valentine's Day? Tell the guys out there.
Gentlemen, in case you forgot, this Sunday, February 14th, all day from 12:01 a.m. to 11:59 p.m., buy a gift, offer an upgrade, take somebody out to dinner, lunch, brunch, and you have, for most of us, Monday off because of President's Day. So don't go to bed early, and let's just hope that it goes well for you.
I do want to share with you, about 6 months ago, I had a pedicure and manicure at the office. I went home. My wife was so upset with me. She locked me out of the house for 2 days. All right.
Because you're caring about your hygiene?
Yes. And so, Grant did a video show. This is the new kitchen. This is the bathroom for Michael. And the cot is his. She said, put his name on there. So guys, don't get locked out of your house. Don't do anything stupid. All right.
So you think, listen, I just got a manicure last Saturday and a pedicure, and let me tell you, I'm still feeling myself just looking at them.
Is that neat to do that?
It is. You know, self-care has taken a front seat during COVID. And I think, you know, a lot of people have attended to their own mental health, to their weight, to their fitness routine. Not everybody, but a lot of people have. And, you know, I've spent a little time, you know, in the self-care. I love a great manicure. And I love how my feet look when I have a pedicure.
And by the way, it seems to be a little bit less of you today compared to a month or so ago.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm on a pretty focused regimen for weight loss. I've lost 65 pounds. My goal is to lose another 24 pounds by my birthday, which is 3 months from this weekend. So it's about 2 pounds a week, which is considered a very healthy process. And so, hey, man, you're going to be looking at somebody under 300 pounds for the first time since I think college.
Okay, so let me ask you. So there you are. You're getting a pedicure done. You're wearing a mask.
Yes.
They're wearing a mask. They don't speak English or Spanish or some other language.
No, she speaks perfect English.
Okay. The guard's here. And so she was asking me all sorts of questions. Said, what? Finally, after the third time, I finally nodded my head yes. So it was an extra $20.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, did you do the paraffin?
Whatever it was. I just gave up. Okay.
You just agreed. Listen, you've gotten many years of experience. Being a husband can be like that. Yes, honey. Whatever you suggest. Whenever Yelene suggests that I get the paraffin, I know that she's the expert. I don't know much about my feet. They're so far away from me most of the time.
Can you see them? You can see them now.
I can, but I'm 6'3", so they're always really far from me. I don't ever sit Indian style or
that's a surprise, Mark.
I don't, so I really am about my feet. First of all, good foot health is underrated. Secondly, and most importantly, these are the dudes that get me around, man. And for the last 52 years, they've had a significant amount of pounding on them.
And for guys that don't do it, you ought to go and see all the stuff they get out of your toes.
I got to be honest with you. When guys say to me, oh, no, I would never do that.
It's not the manly thing to do.
I don't know if it's not only that, but it's like maybe people are uncomfortable with their feet getting touched. Maybe they're just embarrassed. But the first time is the hardest. Go, because they're going to take that machine to the bottom of your foot. And they're going to remove any calluses. And that thing, to me, of course, makes me squirm because I'm super ticklish on the bottom of my feet. But and the next thing I want to do after I get a pedicure, I want to go to a pool. And I just want to be either barefoot or in flip-flops. I want to show off those tootsies.
Well, I saw you in a commercial of a new member of the Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And you were standing in the pool going like this.
That was our friends at Gables Galliano. Hi, Laura. Hi, the entire team at Urban Resources, new trustees of ours in the last 2 weeks. And, that was spontaneous. So when Aaron is there, Aaron is such a pro with, his videography, but even more so, with his drone.
Pretty
so
cool.
We're kind of hanging around, and I'm reminding him that drones aren't technically allowed. So I try to distance myself. So the next thing I know, I'm like, hey, let's do something fun in the pool. So I pulled up my khakis, popped off my shoes, got in the pool, and, did a little splish splash. You're taking a bath.
Splish splash, taking a bath.
I love that project. I wish I was in the market for a rental because I would immediately move in there. We've got some great new rentals in the Gables. They're at Gables Galliano. That is already renting. Our friends at Lifetime there on US 1, they're renting. It'll be open probably in April or May. Really some great product out there.
Now, we're not going to talk about the thing that's been going around since March because sometimes Facebook doesn't like that. But you've made some changes the way you're operating. But as we look down the road, it looks like we're going to be able to get together relatively soon.
I'm optimistic. We've done 3 in-person events, severely limited the attendance, had to be outside, and we've monitored those folks. No one got ill from that. Everybody was pretty good about wearing their masks. I just had a conversation with a longtime partner of ours about an event that they typically do in the spring, and could we do that a little bit later, because they, like you're alluding to, are feeling a lot more comfortable about summer, late summer. More and more people are getting the vaccine each day. I think more and more people are seeing the numbers come down. That's a true boost in the arm, too, when you can see the fact that we're making inroads, we're making progress, we're doing the things that, we need to be doing. And, at the end of the day, we're all going to get the T-shirt that says, I survived.
Yes.
So
this is the real one. This is
the real one, let me tell you. And, really appreciate all of our businesses that have been there all along. I did a podcast yesterday with Abe Ing, who owns Sushi Maki, and listen, they never closed their doors. They had to pivot overnight to being delivery and pickup. And one of the things that was a great success to him was that he had his own delivery driver, so they could make that seamless approach. Not everybody had that opportunity, but there's lots of great heroes out there, in addition to our great healthcare heroes.
And sometimes it's not just a business pivot. We as consumers need to pivot. There's a restaurant that I go to at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'd sit there and I'd dip coffee and finally leave around 8 o'clock. Well, they changed their hours to 8 o'clock. Well, it's too late for me. So I hadn't been to McDonald's in quite a long time. And so I go in the line in the car, and in 3 minutes I have the coffee. It's wonderful that I didn't have to get out of the car to go do that. So all of us need to pivot a little bit and change a little bit how we behave. And I think we've learned to do that. But I know that we're all yearning to give somebody a pat on the back and to get one. So let's talk about Coral Gables Chamber.
My favorite topic.
Yes. So what is going on with Coral Gables Chamber?
So it's a big weekend in the Gables. I mean, for the last 2.5 years, we as a chamber and some of our community partners have been working on Illuminate Coral Gables. It debuts tonight at sundown. We had a little sneak preview the last 2 nights of the Fireflies installation and Kiki Smith's Blue Night. And I think it's going to be one of those events because it's fully outdoors and it's spread out through the city that really ignites and engages people. Light is such a great metaphor for hope and opportunity and the future. And what a great way to be looking to the future from where we are right now and over the next 5 to 6 months. And I'm just really proud of Patrick O'Connell, Vinnie Torrey, the whole team. It's Abraham Lincoln's birthday today, so I'm sorry I didn't bring my stovepipe hat and my beard, but every time I put that beard on, it abrases my face and I end up with hair in my mouth.
Your baby face over there.
My little baby face. So that's today. Happy 212th, Mr. President. And then, of course, you've got Valentine's Day and President's Day on Monday.
So you have the new member of the Chamber of Commerce. Tell us about them.
So we have a bunch of new members. Actually, in the first 10 days or so of February, we've got, I think, 5 or 6 new members. So we're really excited about that. A couple of new trustees that have come to the table, including a great law firm, Peter Weber Del Prado. They're located just in your neighborhood here, but do a lot of personal injury work. And Rosanna Weber's on our chamber leadership team. And I'm just really excited to say that, February is all about showing the love, sharing the love, shining the love. And now we say for Valentine's Day, shop the love.
Shop love. So Z Dicker Law Firm, is that the one you mentioned?
Yep. They joined actually yesterday.
Oh,
so the one I was telling you about was Peter Weber Del Prado. So Zydecker is brand new as of the last day or two. So welcome to you. Looking forward to getting to know them a little bit more than I know them already.
Right. And thank you for supporting the businesses and being involved.
Absolutely.
So if somebody wants to find a little bit more about the Coral Gables Chamber, what can they do and who should they contact?
So there's a multitude of ways. So we're very active on social media. We're actually in a campaign right now as part of the Share and Show the Love campaign to get to 5,000 followers on our Instagram. And so we're at about 48, 50. And so
Victory
we're looking
is
for
around
that last 150. And we're partnering with organizations like Threefold Cafe and Sushi Maki to help share our networks. So that's a cool initiative. So you can learn a lot about what we do there. You could do something as simple as reaching out to us. Give me a call. I'm selling memberships. I'm in the sales business. We're really good about being responsive, and I love to go out and visit places. That's what you were talking about when I went and visited Gables Galliano.
One of the things that we've learned in the last year and a half, that we are all right, very good at adapting, and we recognize there's another side to this. And for your team to hold this group together was really tremendous. And now that we can see the light, people are very excited. So where did you get that drive to do that?
You know, I think when I came to the Chamber 15 years ago, we were in a rough spot. Now, it was not driven by an economic recession or a pandemic, but it was very much driven by the fact that, you know, we'd had a change in CEOs. There were some hard feelings about that, the decisions that the board maybe had made. And so I always tease about this, but I went on kind of a year-long apology tour because someone always had an issue or a concern or a frustration. And so, you know, a lot of that predated me, but it came down to saying, listen, I'm sorry you feel that way, but here's my commitment to you. I'll never forget having a meeting with the folks at Total Bank back when there was Total Bank. And it was run by Adrian Arsh, and Bill Heffernan invited me over after several months of begging to come and try to re-engage them. They had been longtime trustees and had left over that change. And listen, I got it, because maybe it wasn't as transparent, maybe it wasn't as well handled, but in the end of the day, a change was made. So he invited me. I thought it was going to be he and I. He invited literally about a dozen people. And so it was me making a commitment to all of those folks that, one, we'd never conduct ourselves that way again, and two, they had my commitment to help them, you know, build their bank. And let's say that was a Thursday. By Monday or Tuesday, they had rejoined, and they took a very large sponsorship for one of our events. And I learned very quickly that if you're super candid with people, which is really my style, if you're an honorable person, you show a little bit of who you are. There's a gregariousness to me that I think is as authentic as it comes. That's who I am. That people, you know, it resonates with them. And so, listen, when we get it wrong, we own it. Call us out. We call ourselves out usually before that can happen. And when we get it right, we appreciate you. We don't pat ourselves on the back. That's just not our style. So that drive, I think, comes from seeing success. It could be a little frustrating in these days just because of what we're dealing in terms of a pandemic. But, you know, I also grew up that way, which is you don't give up, and you don't throw in the towel.
Let's talk about the women's networking that the Chamber has. Tell us about that.
So we have a really great group of women. I'm really proud of the fact that our Chamber, over our period of existence of 95 years, has had probably more women serve in a role as chair than most of our peers. And so we've always, I think, paid very careful attention to the fact that I think women network differently. They're often the decision maker in their household, so it's very important to market and to sell to them. And I think they celebrate each other differently. You know, we're going to be honoring women all of the month of March. And what's really great about that, I think, is that not every chamber does that. We still have a monthly women's lunch. Matter of fact, this Tuesday, we're partnering with the Women's Committee of the Miami Beach Chamber to do a speed networking just so that the women can network. There's no real agenda or program. It's really about fellowship.
And there's no question, in my mind, when the women see each other in positions, whatever that happens to be, that there's a little bit more celebratory than their
Listen, I just had a conversation with one of our past chairs, Louis Chiappi with Equitable Advisors. And one of the things I was telling him about our Women's Business Leader of the Year awards that they sponsor is that when a woman wins, it's not the polite golf clap that you might have at the Diamond Awards or at the George Merrick Awards. The women get up, cheer, celebrate, run to hug their friend, to take photos. They cry together. It's something incredibly special, and it's hard to protect the integrity of that in the virtual space. And so we'll figure that out. But I love that.
Yes.
Our ladies, and we have a woman coming in as our chair, Anna Chowie from Grove Bank and Trust. I mean, what a year it's going to be for her as we see a return to normalcy.
So, when we look at the woman who's, I think she's general manager of the Marlins, then you have the first woman referee, in the NFL, and then in the Super Bowl, that there were 3 jets that flew over. What the lead jet was a woman. So it's as I explain to people, it's the year of the woman, but so is the last 10 years or so. And I celebrate with you and with them that people are feeling better about themselves.
I do too.
So let's talk about just a short recap about what's going on in Tallahassee. What's going to be going on there?
So, we go to Tallahassee every year during committee weeks. And, obviously it was not a great opportunity to do that this year. That the Senate is in basically a bubble. They're not taking outside guests. And the House, has some less strict rules, but still strict rules. And I'm not sure everybody's super comfortable traveling, staying in a hotel. I am. A number of our members are. So we talked to the Florida Chamber back in December, and they said, listen, if you're going to do it virtually. So we got to work doing that. So Monday and Tuesday, we hosted 23 different meetings over 2 days. And 12 of those were with our elected members of the House and the Senate here in the state. And the other ones were meetings with partners and others. And let me tell you, it was really great because, normally when we fly up there, we might get 15, 18 people. When we do it in a virtual space, we get 30, 40, 50 people that participate. And they get to really see what the priorities are. And we get a chance, even on Zoom and in 2 dimensions, to tell Annette Taddeo, we want to support a bill that she's proffering.
And that's one of the things that I think will live on for a long time. I think we'll have different audiences. You're going to have the one that's in front of you and then there. And then you have the other audience. TV shows been doing that for decades, which is they play to 300 here and 20 and 10 million outside there.
Oh, that's a great analogy. Right. And
let's talk
listen,
about
I hope we can do that. I think one is going to be for organizations like us, a little bit of cost prohibition, but we're going to work with our partners and see how we can make that happen.
So it's Black History Month.
It is.
All right. So you may know that we have a show called Race to the Top. It's for people of color, and we enjoy doing that, and as well as other times during the week. And one of the things this last 13 months has taught me is the inequities that are there, and that we really need to pay attention to people, right, that are not as fortunate, that get pushed out, and we see that more and more. And we saw that originally with the vaccines. Oops, that's probably it for Facebook. They're probably going to knock us out at this point. Which went to the rich people, and then the people that didn't have the connections, right, were left behind. That's one of the reasons that the county said, no, we need to take care of the people that don't have those connections.
That's right. And listen, those disparities still exist, not just related to, the rollout, but also related to, think about food insecurity, think about food deserts, think about things we're talking about more because we are engaged in a more national dialogue. And I'm proud that our country's doing that. Those are painful conversations. They're challenging in a chamber, in a business organization.
So when I interview Blacks, I've learned more about myself, and I thought that I was liberal. No.
No, you got a ways to go.
I have a way to go to say, to get even close to that, where I'm going to treat you like I want to be treated, and that we're equals, instead of going with this preconceived notion of that because I'm a different color than you, that we can't have that conversation. It's when we can have that conversation with one another, right, that it's going to get clearer that we look different. Right. And we see that. And I've had Black men and women just come out and have that conversation, and it's healthy, right, to be able to do it. Conversations I've had with African Americans I would never have with a group of white people, because they would say that I was racist. But in that group, it's what is needed so that we can get this stuff out, so we can have a real conversation about how to move forward, and so we can all feel better about what we do. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
No, and listen, I think you're absolutely right. The Chamber's had a diversity and inclusion working group since this summer, since a response to the murder of George Floyd, since the response of many of our members who were frustrated by, maybe not having their voices heard. And a chamber is a convener. It's a collaborative organization. I'm very proud of our ability to do that, not only in our community, but talking about much more global issues. But the D&I group, they're super complimentary. They're like, I joined the chamber.
Excuse me 1 second.
Yes.
Tommy, would you let them know we'll be a few more minutes? Tommy, they're right over there. Thank you. All right.
Damien can wait a few more minutes.
Yes.
He's got a great jacket on, by the way. Thank you for putting that window in. But what they'll say about the chamber, gosh, Mark, it's super welcoming. I've never felt uncomfortable, but we can do more. But I look around the room and I don't see other black or brown faces. And listen, those are great reminders that
Yes.
we can be even more collaborative. We can be even more inclusive, and we can be even more, conversational. And so when you look at our programming this month, we have been very intentional in that, having Mike Finney from the Beacon Council lead us off. We're going to have Leanne Buchanan, who founded Miami Venture Cafe.
All those things matter. And one day we had a little get together at Casa Cuba, and it was sort of an informal group. There were 40 people that were there. And the now Mayor Cava came over to me. She said, Michael, there are only 3 women here. And I said, I know. And I said, and I apologize, and I'm going to do better. And we went out of our way to make sure we invited, in that case, it was women, all right?
Mm-hmm.
People from all around. And we had 200 people show up one day. And I think you were the MC. And Wilbur Bell, an African-American, got up, said, this is like when I was in the service. There's somebody from everywhere, which making reference to the diversity that was there.
But you did 2 things there. One, you acknowledged what someone gave you as feedback. You didn't try to nuance it or couch it or whatever. 2, you did something about it.
Yes. So you want to talk a couple of minutes about the vaccine?
So, yeah. So, we're very closely monitoring what's happening. I think one of the things that's driving our members' desire to meet in person is that some of them have already had the first shot or the second shot. So I think we're going to see kind of a revolving and evolving audience. So I think people who have been vaccinated will be moving in that direction, much more comfortable, much earlier. We're still going to ask you to wear your mask. We're still going to ask you to be socially distant. We're still going to ask you to make good decisions. But I do think, we're seeing a much more concerted effort. My mother finally got her first shot. She's 83 years old. That was hugely important because, she was one of those that wasn't sure. And then it became an access issue up in Brevard County. And then she's got number 1 and she'll go back in March. But we have to keep putting the pressure, not only on our federal government to buy more and more supply, but to approve AstraZeneca and others that are in the emergency protocols, and really reach out to our governor. Even though we had a fly-in this week, there was not a lot of talk about how the governor is doing that. So either there's some disconnect or folks are just focused on the budget, which was a big discussion because we're going to have a $3 billion hole in it. Yes. $3 billion hole because of sales tax collection and tourist tax collection that hasn't been happening for 11 months.
So let's talk about Business Woman of the Year awards.
So those are coming up, and we're working with our friends at Equitable Advisors. The judges are meeting on Tuesday, so that process begins in earnest, and we're really excited about that. I think it's our 21st year.
That's great. All right. So what else is on the agenda for the Coral Gables Chamber?
So, much like most of our peer organizations, we're keeping a careful eye on when it's time to return to in-person. But we have done the very solid pivot of hosting probably 8 to 10 programs a month on Zoom. All of our committees are still up and active. I hosted and co-hosted a Chamber Engagement 101 this morning for 20 people. Some are new members, some are kind of unengaged coming back in, and then prospects. That was great. It was run by, Lauren Dowland, Rosella Papali, our volunteers running that, but really explaining to them the value of the chamber and how we've been here all along. We did not take a break. No one went to the floor and got in the fetal position. We just said, here's what we got to do. Our members are priority. Our businesses are priority. And way we communicate, advocate, and support them is a priority.
So one of the things we recognize, it's not time to get ready or be ready. It's a time to do it.
Just do it.
Yes. And I wish that
we've all worked with people who are kind of paralysis by analysis, yes. Right? We don't have that. We don't have a single adapter in our RNA or DNA like that. I know I don't.
Well, your team is led by a great person. That's
You're very kind. Our goal has always been to be outward facing, to be leading from the front. I think we as a chamber have done that very well. We certainly have encouraged and coordinated with our peers who have done that. But all of us are working well and in concert together. Next week, we're co-hosting with the Greater Miami Chamber and the Coalition of Chambers another PPP workshop because there's still a lot of confusion and questions about the 3.0. Yep. Many people who are applying for a second round. And so the goal, honestly, is to continue to deploy as much information to deploy as much support as possible. And that's what we're here for. We're not going anywhere. So.
Right. And folks, you don't need to check out the Coral Gables Chamber. You need to join the chamber. You can call Mark, text him, email, whatever, jump up and down, do all the things you need to do. Mark, we'll be glad to host you and to be able to share with you some of the great things. Thank you very much, Mark. You want to sign us out here?
It's always my pleasure to do the sign off. Again, Michael, thanks so much. Grant, we miss you. We're looking for you. We're putting out an APB. Don't make us put you on a milk carton. Most importantly, our chamber has been here every minute of the day for you ever since this pandemic began, and 94 and a half years before that. But support your local chambers. If it's not us, then one of our peer groups. They are here to advocate, support, and love on you. Most important thing is we're going to be here all the way through. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you so much.